Welcome back to Pit Perspective. I'm your host, Roger Sherman, pitmaster and owner of the District Pit Barbecue Catering Company in Washington, D.C., coming to you from the museum and the mansion on O Street. My guest today is Mychael, a rising star on the comedy scene. His work ethic and determination to become a celebrated comic have landed him at the Apollo, where he took second place. He's also a 6-time winner of the Funny Bone Clash of Comics. His work ethic and determination have also helped him to lose 50 pounds during the pandemic by switching to
vegetarian diet.
A vegetarian diet. Bob, welcome to the show, man.
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. So look, I'm a huge proponent in health and fitness. That's one of the things that I'm kind of into. So I commend you on your weight loss. I commend you on the efforts that you put in to get to that. Mm-hmm. But every time I hear about somebody switching to vegetarianism, not only does it hurt my heart, it also hurts my business. So I'm a barbecue chef. We're cooking meat all day long. So I just got one question for you, man. Why?
Health.
Okay.
At the age of 24, I got diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure. And I didn't want to die from that because, it doesn't sound heroic dying from diabetes.
It doesn't.
Yeah. It'd be like, you heard about how Vaughn died. Be like, nah, what happened? He had a pack of Oreos and YOLO. Like, that doesn't sound cool. So I had to make those changes. Meat, I had to take out the sodium. So meat comes with a lot of sodium, and so I had to cut that out pretty much.
So do you miss it? Do you miss it at all, or was a transition to vegetarianism? Was the health benefits of it so big that you don't even miss any meat more, or just tell me, man, do you miss it? Because I don't know if I could do it.
There's transitions.
Okay.
So at first you do miss. You go through withdrawals. Like it's crazy. Like you go through you're a drug addict. Like you quitting heroin. Like I was sweating.
Okay.
Like it was bad. Like Ray Charles. And but you go through withdrawals, you go through that first. But what I did was I was still eating processed food, so I would eat like Beyond Burgers, Beyond sausages, which nowadays they taste like real meat.
No, they don't. No, I'm not even gonna let you get that off. No.
Have you had one?
No, I haven't, but I refuse to. So maybe it really does.
Yeah.
But I can't do that, because if I were to do that, that would destroy my credibility in my industry.
I got you. So I switched to that first.
Okay.
And then now that took about a year. And then after about a year of doing that, then I switched to a raw kind of just beans and vegetables and stuff like that.
So this is nominally a food show. Are you a cook? Do you like to cook?
No.
Okay. So when you switched to that vegetarian diet, it sounds like you weren't cooking previously. Did that prompt you to do any more cooking? Did it create any type of creativity in you to come up with new ways to feed yourself?
No, it actually got easier because I eat pretty much my diet just consists of beans.
Okay.
So I just cook beans. I put it in the pot and boil it, and throw some vegetables with it. So that's pretty much what I eat on a daily basis.
Okay, so I do pretty good beans. Mm-hmm. So the vegetarianism has in some way, shape, or form affected my business and contributed to my business in a couple of ways. Vegetarians also want barbecue.
Right.
So there are some things that I had to do to make adjustments to my menu. So for example, I cook a lot of beans. I cook beans all the time. I smoke beans. My beans are delicious. They're well received by most people. But I used to put bacon in them, and put the bacon fat in there, and put chop up sausage and put them in there and put them on the smoker in order to accommodate a lot of my customers who are vegetarians, or at least vegetarians who would be coming to my events. I had to start backing some of that out. Okay. So I put a ton of vegetables in my beans now. I don't necessarily put the sausages and the bacon and stuff like that anymore. And then we do them like we would have done them anyway. We're still smoking them and stuff like that. So we'll have to get you some beans.
Definitely.
I could definitely get you some beans. So big on the comedy scene.
Right.
How'd you get into that?
Well, first people always told me that I was a funny guy, and I thought I was very insecure. I thought they were dismissing what I was saying, and I didn't take it seriously. Then one day, one of my friends suggested me do a sketch video and put it online. I did it, and it just got a bunch of views.
Okay.
And then after that, I was like, well, I might be funny, so I was just like, let's do comedy.
So what's the most difficult part of getting involved in that?
Understanding that it's not an overnight thing. When I first got in, I remember the first time I did stand up, I was like, I'm gonna be Chris Rock, and I remember I got on stage and I bombed, and it was bad. I cried, called my mom and everything, and I had to realize it takes years to get to that level that you want to. So it's like we live in this generation with social media, that instant gratification.
Yes.
You got to realize it actually takes, you got to put in the work.
So, your biggest bomb. So, you know, I've talked to people on my show about their biggest failures, you know, and on previous shows I've talked about some of my culinary failures and things that I've done that were silly and stupid as far as the business is concerned. Tell me about your biggest bomb, the moment you were on stage where you were just like, I'm never doing this again.
It was at the Apollo.
Okay.
So
now that's big time.
Yeah.
That's big time. So I hope everybody knows what the Apollo is, but the Apollo is like I guess it's the black mecca of performance. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with the Apollo, check that out. But go ahead, brother.
So I did the Apollo 3 times. The first time I did it, I got second place. Parents were happy. It was all good. Now, the second time I did it, I made the mistake of listening to somebody else before I got on stage. This guy, when pre-rehearsals, I'm the type of comedian, I stand on stage and stand still, and I just look at the crowd. A guy told me before I went up, he was like, man, you should walk around. That's a big theater. Let people feel you. You walk around and engage the audience. And I was like, yeah, he's right, but I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years just standing still. So I get on stage, and I'm walking back and forth, and it throws my rhythm off.
Yes.
And people just start booing. Now, you know, at the Apollo, if they start booing long enough, the Sandman comes and gets you off stage, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't let that happen because I was like, man, my mom, she ain't gonna let this go. So I got off stage before the Sandman came. Now, this mistake that I made, and I did not know this was gonna happen. Now, if the Sandman doesn't get you at the end, you have to go back up because it's an audience vote.
Okay.
So at the end, after I was getting booed and I rushed off stage, I had to get back up at the end. So in the audience, they call your name and they cheer, and how loud depends on who wins. So they call the first person up, they cheering. Second person up, they cheering. They call my name, and everybody starts booing.
Oh, jeez.
Now let me remind you. So they have a meter behind you that goes up based off the audience noise. So for me, they booing, but the meter is going up. So
Okay.
I am about to win off of boos. And that was the worst time of my life. I think I turned off my phone about a month after that. But
Was that the first time up?
that was the second time.
That was the second time. So the first time you got second, and the
Yeah.
second time you went out there and got sandblasted.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I went back again though,
Okay.
and I got third place.
All right. Well, you know, you placed multiple times.
Yeah.
That's all right. So what was your tell me your biggest success moment, the moment you were proudest of so far in comedy?
Was probably the Apollo. I would say the Apollo has been like the biggest one because for me it's just like all the legends have been there and done it. It was just like that's one of them things that it's like I could put on my wall. I got the certificate. It just made me proud, and I could never. That's something I always wanted.
Wow. So that's a big deal. So like I said, the Apollo is like the black mecca of performance throughout the United States. Being on that stage had to be memorable, had to be incredible, especially if you got the opportunity to do that 3 times. That's amazing. What's the next step for you?
Next up for me is I have my live sketch show that's coming up in DC. I have a sketch and stand-up where it's like I'm presenting pre-recorded sketches, and then I'm also having stand-up comedians, black comedians from all across the country that's going to be doing stand-up routines in between that. So I got that going on, and then I'm going to release my sketch show on streaming platforms early next year.
What's the name of the sketch show?
Von Mychael Sketch Show.
The Von Mychael Sketch Show. So folks, be on the lookout for the Von Mychael Sketch Show. It's gonna be live. I mean, this man's been on the Apollo. That's a very big deal. So I can only imagine that that's gonna take off. Brother, tell people where they can find you at. VonMychael.com.
I'm on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pornhub. Anything you want to see me on, I'm on there.
You can find this man on Pornhub if you need to. I would suggest that you find him on Instagram, but you can do what you need to do. You know, like I said, I don't judge. Vaughn, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate your time, guys. You know, once again, Von Mychael, great comedian, great presence here in Washington, D.C., a Richmond native. Great to have him up here in the District of Columbia. We appreciate you watching the show. Again, Pitt Perspective. You can find us on Instagram at District Pitt. We're on Facebook at The District Pitt. For your catering services and needs, you can reach out to us at thedistrictpitt.com. We appreciate you watching the show, and we look forward to serving you.